Well, here's something I never thought I'd get my hands on, the air-pressured Echo-1 pistol in the Huntsman line from Lanard. I'm not sure how many blasters are actually in this Huntsman line, but I know the Huntsman 50 is a big frig-off sniper rifle that looks really amazing, but has one of the weirdest primes of any blaster ever, and on top of that, it's not very good. And this I'm very dubious about, because it does say air-pressured, and it is in fact an air-powered pistol, which means I'm getting some serious Gen 1 Panther vibes from it. If you don't know, I've done a video on the Panther, but the Gen 1 Panther is a tiny pistol that was like $5 that could hit like 200 FPS. It was insane. And for some reason, the Gen 2 Panther came out and they cut the air tank volume in half. Not sure why, but they did. And that kind of leads you to wonder, in space year 2018, what exactly is in this thing? And to be perfectly honest, I have no idea. So we're gonna have to open this thing up to get any idea of what this could actually do in the future. But it does say it shoots up to 50 feet, and it comes with 6 foam darts. And these darts are unlike anything else I've ever seen before. You can't really see it all that good from up there, but we'll open this up and figure this one out. And it's really detailed pretty coolly, I would say. It's got like a little barrel shroud kind of thing going on. It says MXM, Master X Master, 018 pump action Huntsman, Echo-1, SN-A79JB. These are just stickers. They look pretty cheap, but this was picked up at an Ollie's for $5. Again, echoing that whole Gen 1 Panther vibe, and this was sent to me by Homely, which I was never expecting, but if anybody knows what I like when it comes to a blaster, it's gonna be Homely. It says their price $13, our price $4.99. I don't know what an Ollie's is, but if you have one near you, you may have access to these things, or maybe somewhere else, I'm not sure. I haven't seen these in stores, so yeah. And on the back, it just says air-pressured Echo-1 pistol, 6 foam darts, air pressure, pump and fire, pump 6 times and pull trigger, load dart firmly in barrel, Huntsman. And that's about all she wrote. And I'm really curious, is this thing going to be any good at all? And I'm really hoping it will be. And it looks like it's only held in by 2 zip ties here, so we're just gonna clip those out. Free the pistol. Now the grip looks absolutely astonishingly tiny, which is not great at all. Are your darts not secure enough? Thank you. So right off the bat, I'm more curious about these darts than anything, believe it or not. They have squishy tips that are, well, they're not really that glued. I mean, they are, kinda, but squishy tips that are in this weird kind of bullet shape. I don't even know. That is really strange. You do get 6 of them. The foam is pretty thin, pretty not great, but again, $5 blaster. The grip on this is so small. The overall profile is really thin, though. And, I mean, you can get a handle on it. I've got pretty small hands, and kinda. The pump is really comfortable. Got a little bit of a pop to it. Okay, this is copyright 2016, but the package says 2018. So this must be a complete reshell of the original pistol, which I have seen, but I've never fired one, so. I'm trying to figure out when the overpressure release kicks in. Right there. So about 5 pumps in. So that's about what it says. It does have a dart peg in it, but the weirdest part is that if you look in the barrel shroud, again, it's going to be really hard, the barrel is actually right here, so you're sticking this dart in absolutely no. Ooh! But it's got a really, really tough... That's a really good dart fit. Not pump it up enough. That is super cool! That's not bad at all, especially with these included darts. Okay, that one didn't have nearly as good as a fit. Still fires pretty darn good. Huh. I am actually curious now. It's really late out. I'm not going to be able to get any kind of firing done. I say it's really late. It's like frickin' 4 o'clock, but it's been pouring rain, and it's now dark. So we're going to have to just make sure we do it with the good old velocity tests. Wow, I would use this in a stock war. This isn't bad at all. It says 50 feet, but, I mean, that's not bad. At all. That's really good for what this little thing is. I love how thin it is, too. This would be a really, really good secondary if it can reach any kind of actual power. And, I mean, that's not bad for what it is. The pump is relatively good. I kind of like how it's the bar instead of the round kind of tube shaped. But I guess that does mean a little bit more. You can't, there's no way you're maxing out this tank like this. So I guess my main question in here is, what is inside this blaster? Because that's what's gonna matter. I mean, I've seen better $5 pistols that hit harder, that don't require any kind of pumping or anything, so don't get me wrong, but it's definitely usable. I wouldn't say it's a bad blaster by any means. Stock, anyway. Now, if it has any kind of modification potential, which generally air blasters do, then we have some credence to making this thing actually a good secondary, because a sniping pistol is really useful. And it looks like the front of it is gonna be solvent welded, of course. I did get most of it off though. And that air tank is not big, but not small either. I'll just pull out the entire thing. Interesting. That's an interesting sized air tank. Very thin. Jeez. That's all. Okay, does that come? No, it doesn't come out. Because usually, like with the... Oh, no, it does. Or I'm breaking it. One of the two. Okay. That's not a bad size. That's not great, but... This is seriously a really interesting air tank. I'm not sure how I feel about this. So definitely has no barrel. I mean, this is about as much as you get. So already it's ready for more air power just by taking out this dart peg and everything like that and putting an actual barrel on it. But let's see the pump too. The pump does have an air release hole, so it is entirely possible. I do like how you don't have to break the solvent weld to take this entire thing apart. It would be entirely possible to plug the pump on this thing, get rid of the overpressure release valve. Interesting. Huh, it's not... I'm not going to say this is the biggest air tank ever. It does have these, like, holes cut out of it, too. I got to keep that in mind for the actual volume, but it's definitely not bad. What I'm actually worried about is the fact that it's so thin. It's really thin material. I have a feeling this tank would fail really quick, but it's not terrible. It does have a little bit of promise there. The grip is really small. That needs to be fixed, but overall, not bad for $5. If you had a purpose for this, I could definitely see this being a worthy cause for a blaster, especially if you just like it. I don't see how this couldn't do pretty good with the tank plugged and everything like that. I don't see how you couldn't get some decent pressure out of this thing, but it's no Gen 1 Panther. It definitely is not. I'd say it's probably a little bit better than a Gen 2. There does seem to be more volume there, and the Gen 2 was really thick, but it was also really small, and that's the biggest problem with that tank, is that it just didn't have any kind of power to it. And that was the same air tank that was used in things like the Air Max 6 and Air Max 8, whatever you call those. They came out a little bit after the fact. Overall, not bad. Not super great, but not bad. $5, you don't get stickers on both sides. It's pretty plain. The grip is still insanely small. It's definitely inspired by the original Blvd Panther and Air Max 1. It's okay. Pump is pretty small, but it seems to work rather decently. Outputs a decent amount of little air. Tank size is probably okay to get you a little bit more. It's definitely a really slim profile, so if you wanted to remove this and make that like a push-button trigger or something like that and undermount this on something, I can definitely see that happening, and it would look pretty friggin' cool, but I don't think it's going to be like the sniping pistol to completely change the game quite like the Gen 1 Panther was, but you could do a little bit worse than something like this. Like, I do feel like this is probably going to outrank the original Gen 2 Panther. It's definitely not bad. I like it. I actually do like this blaster, but I'm not saying you need to rush out there and get one or spend insane eBay money to get one, but we'll see if I can get this thing hitting a little bit harder and if my tone changes about this, because I do love how this works. It's just got a nice profile. It's a decent amount of air. you know what I mean. But let me know what you think about the Huntsman Echo-1 down in the comment section below. I'm really curious to see if anybody has one of these or if anybody has modded one. Other than that, I've been Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching my video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta